I have a locked room in my house. My daughter doesn't know it exists. Not because I don't trust her. Because some things, if the wrong person finds them, don't just cost money. They cost everything. That night, I got home late. The house was too quiet. No TV, no footsteps. Just that kind of silence that makes you slow down without knowing why. I was halfway down the hall when I heard it. A faint metallic click. Not loud, but precise. Intentional. The kind of sound you only notice if you've been listening for it your whole life. I stopped. Then I walked the rest of the hallway. Slower. This time. And there he was. Kyle, my son-in-law, standing in front of the locked door. Flashlight in one hand, a ring of keys in the other, trying them one by one like he had all the time in the world. I didn't move. Because my daughter doesn't even know that door exists. I never told her. Not once. So, how did he find it? Kyle turned, startled, then forced a smile. Hey, I heard this lock gets stuck sometimes. Just checking. I didn't answer. I looked at the door, then at the keys in his hand. No one checks a door like that at midnight. Not in the dark. Not with a flashlight. Not with a full set of keys. I asked him one question. Slow. Careful. How long have you known about this room? He swallowed, still smiling, but thinner now. I just guessed. Big house, you know? No. You don't guess something like this. You don't just find the one door I always keep locked. You find it because you've been looking, watching, listening. And in that moment, I understood something I wish I didn't. This wasn't curiosity. This was the first move. Because the moment someone finds a secret you never shared, they stopped being family a long time ago and started being something else. That room was never just storage. It was my last line. The place where everything I couldn't afford to lose lived separate from the rest of my life. Inside, I kept copies of every critical document, property records, contracts, insurance. A backup will sealed, updated, and ready for the day things go wrong. A small safe. Inside it, USB drives, password backups, the kind of information that doesn't just protect assets, it controls them. And then, there were the things no one talks about. Personal items, pieces of my wife, fragments of a life that ended too early, things I wasn't willing to let anyone touch. Not even by accident. I didn't hide that room because I feared strangers. I hid it because I understand families. The more people who care, the more people who want access. And the moment too many hands reach in, you don't just lose control. You lose ownership. My daughter is kind. That's her strength and her weakness. Because kind people don't see the shift when someone changes the story around them. Kyle does. From the day he married into this family, there was something about him, not loud, not obvious, but his eyes. They never stayed where the conversation was. They drifted, measured, landed exactly where value lived. He would say things like, "Take care of your health, Dad." Then, just a beat later, "Where do you keep your documents? If something happens, who handles everything?" He called it concern. I called it scenting the ground. Because predators don't rush. They map, they wait, they learn where everything is. Long before they make a move. I never thought I'd need that room to protect my family from someone inside it. But life has a way of flipping the threat. A thief on the street takes what you have. A thief inside your home takes control over what happens next. And the moment I saw Kyle standing at that door, it hit me. The most dangerous part wasn't whether he could open it. It was this. He found it before my daughter ever did. Which meant one thing. He wasn't moving with the family. He was moving ahead of it. Looking back, Kyle didn't end up at that door by accident. He'd been casting lines for a while. At dinner, it always sounded like a joke. "Dad's getting older. What if you forget things? Do you have someone you trust to handle everything? You're leaving it all to my wife, right?" Over. Sweet tone. Light delivery. But when you line them up, they all point in one direction. Inheritance. I kept my answers vague. Took care of it. Already handled. Every time I shut it down, his eyes dimmed for just a second. Just one beat. That's all it took to see it. Ambition. Blocked. So he adjusted. Shifted from questions to help. Let me organize your documents. I can clean up your filing system. I'll check the locks around the house. Always helpful. Always useful. Always circling the same thing. Where things are kept. I used to think he was just being proactive. Now I see it clearly. He wasn't helping. He was mapping. There was a night my daughter mentioned something casually. Kyle said you should let him hold on to your documents. He'll take care of everything. I smiled, but something inside me went cold. Because decent people don't ask to hold someone else's life in their hands. Decent people help with tasks. Predators ask for control. And standing there that night, watching him at that door, everything clicked. Every random question, every polite offer, every careful glance, none of it was random. It was a map, built piece by piece. And tonight, he reached the final mark. I didn't raise my voice. Men like Kyle count on that. They need you emotional, so they can label you difficult. Difficult. The problem. I gave him one question. Who told you about this room? Kyle forced a smile. I just guessed. Big house. Locked door at the end of the hall. Guessed? A respectful man doesn't walk up to the one locked door in someone else's house and start trying keys. There are only two kinds of people who do that. The clueless, or the ones with a target. Kyle wasn't clueless. He was positioned. Flashlight angled low, keys ready, head slightly down just enough to avoid the camera. Not random, practiced. So, I ran it through my head. How did he find it? He went through my house when I wasn't there. He tracked my routines, noticed where I paused, where I lingered. Or he listened. Closer than he should have. When I mentioned things to my lawyer, my insurance agent, the document room, every version of that answer had one thing in common. It crossed a line. And the worst part? If he's willing to search my house, he's willing to search my daughter's life. I looked at him. Don't try it again. Kyle didn't drop the act. You're overreacting. I was just trying to help. No. Help asks. This doesn't ask. This takes. I turned and walked away. But in my head, something had already locked into place. Tonight wasn't just about catching him in the wrong spot. It was about this. He tested the boundary. And if I don't stop it now, he won't just cross it. He'll move it. I was right. Kyle didn't stop after getting caught. He escalated. But not with the door. With my daughter. The next morning, she called. Dad. Kyle said, you've been hiding things. That you don't trust anyone. He said it's making the family tense. I let out a slow breath. Of course. When predators can't open the door, they open a different one. The one inside someone's head. I asked her one question. Did you even know that room existed? Silence. No. I didn't raise my voice. Then how did your husband find it before you did? Another silence. Longer this time. I could hear it happening. The moment doubt tries to break through, and the part of her that wants to protect him pushes it back. Maybe he was just worried. There it was. Not truth. Not logic. A story. Planted. Carefully. Because if she believes I'm the one hiding things, she stops asking him questions. And the moment she stops asking, he gets time. Time to adjust. Time to move. Time to finish whatever he started. I spoke slower now. Clear. Listen to me. This isn't concern. A pause. This is how people hunt assets. Silence again. Heavier. And when they do, they don't come directly. I let that sit. They use the person closest to the door. I didn't have to say it. She understood. Her breathing changed. Then, she broke. Not because of the room, but because, for the first time, she saw the possibility that the man she trusted was treating her family like a project. And right there, I made my decision. If I don't draw the line now, If I don't gather proof, Kyle won't just get closer to that door. He'll turn me into the problem, so that one day he can stand in front of it, and no one will dare to ask why. I didn't confront Kyle. Raising my voice would only give him what he wants, a reason to play the victim. So I did the one thing men like him hate most. I collected evidence. I checked the hallway cameras. There was a blind spot, small, but not enough. The footage caught just enough. A shadow, a flashlight, a hand moving, trying key after key. Not clear, but not innocent. I exported the clip, saved it in 2 separate places. Then I checked the lock. Light scratches around the keyhole. Fresh, which meant one thing. He didn't just try once. He kept trying. I went through my spare keys. All still there, untouched. So if he had keys in his hand, they weren't mine. Either he brought his own, or he used something cheap. Universal. Didn't matter which. The intention was the same. Open the door. I called Dana. My son-in-law is probing a locked room. He found it before my daughter did. She didn't hesitate. Change the lock. Move anything important. And don't let him be alone in your house. No drama. Just protocol. So I moved. New lock. New safe code. Sensitive documents gone. Relocated to a bank vault where curiosity can't reach. And that room? It's no longer where I keep my secrets. Now it's where I place bait. Because I know something about men like Kyle. Once they catch the scent, they don't walk away. They come back. And next time, I won't just catch him at the door. I'll catch him reaching for what he thinks is his. Rick, my PI, went deeper into the camera logs. And that's when the second hit landed. This wasn't the first time. There were 2 earlier clips. One when I was at the grocery store. One when I stepped over to the neighbor's house. Same posture, same flashlight, same slow movement, leaning in, working the lock, which meant something simple. The night I caught him wasn't the first attempt. It was just the first time I saw it. I sat there for a long moment. Because the violation isn't about whether he got in. It's this. Someone had already turned my home into a map, and I didn't even know. Rick didn't soften it. He's been scouting. He knows your routines. When you're gone, which doors stay locked? I asked him one question. What does he want? Rick didn't hesitate. Information, documents, anything that gives leverage. A beat. He doesn't need to steal money. Another beat. He needs control. That's when it clicked. This was never about valuables. It was about power, the kind you don't notice until someone else is holding it. That night, I sat down with my daughter. You need to understand something. This isn't random. He's been watching. She didn't answer right away. Silence stretched. Then she said something that cut deeper than anything Kyle had done. I feel like I don't even know who I married. I looked at her. You do. I didn't raise my voice. You just didn't want to believe it. I went back into the room. I've always had a system, not paranoia. Pattern. Every box in place. Every envelope aligned. Every stack exactly where I left it. Because I've been burned before. And when you've been burned once, you stop trusting memory. You trust position. That's when I saw it. 2 boxes labeled documents. Swapped. Subtle, but wrong. A file that should have been perfectly straight. Tilted. Barely, but enough. And then, the envelope. Thin. Light. Easy to miss. Gone. Not a box. Not a stack. Just the one thing someone could slip into a jacket and walk out with. That told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't random. This wasn't careless. This was targeted. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were looking for. This wasn't theft. This was document extraction. I stood there, looking at the disturbance, and the conclusion was unavoidable. Kyle had been inside. At some point. Somehow, a copied key. A moment alone, or worse, access handed to him without understanding what it meant. I called Dana. If documents are missing, assume they've been copied or already used. Her voice didn't waver. Act like you're under financial attack. So I moved. Passwords reset. Security questions changed. Access cut off. Anything that could be used against me. Locked down. But that wasn't enough. Because suspicion isn't proof. And without proof, Kyle walks. He denies. He smiles. He turns it back on me. Maybe you forgot. Maybe you misplaced it. Maybe you're not remembering clearly. No, not this time. So I made a decision. Not to confront. Not yet. To set a trap. Because the next time Kyle comes back, I won't be looking for signs. I'll be waiting for him to take something that I chose for him. Dana built the plan. Simple, clean, unarguable. A bait envelope placed back in the document box. Inside. Harmless papers. Dressed to look like something valuable. A tiny marker, subtle, invisible unless you knew where to look. And most important, a micro camera. Not for the room. For the hands. Because hands don't lie. The goal wasn't revenge. It was confession without words. I reset everything to normal. Even added a line. Casually. In front of Kyle. I need to reorganize some important documents. Things have been messy lately. He looked up immediately. Just for a second. But it was there. That spark. He thought I'd opened a door for him. That night, I stepped out. 30 minutes. Just enough. Not reckless. Rick was outside, watching, waiting. Then, motion alert. Hallway camera. Kyle. Same place. End of the hall. This time, no obvious flashlight. Just the dim glow of his phone. Controlled. Careful. Practiced. He crouched. Reached for the lock. And opened it. Fast. Too fast. No hesitation. No trial and error. Just one movement. Which meant only one thing. He had a key. I didn't breathe. Not because I was surprised. Because now, there was no doubt left. This wasn't curiosity. This wasn't guessing. This wasn't even access anymore. This was ownership. He hadn't just found the door. He had claimed the right to open it. Kyle moved, like he'd been there before. No hesitation. No scanning the room. Straight to the documents box. He opened it, flipping through envelopes fast, precise, not curious. Searching, like he already knew what he was looking for. Then he found it. The bait. He paused. Just one beat. Picked it up. Opened it. Pulled the papers out. And started taking photos. One after another. Fast. Efficient. No second thoughts. Then he folded everything back. Slid the envelope into his inner pocket. Closed the box. Closed the door. Locked it. And walked out. Like nothing happened. 4 minutes. That's all it took. Because people who care about family don't photograph hidden documents. They ask. Kyle didn't ask. He took. Rick saved the footage. Dana didn't need to think twice. That's enough. And she was right. Not suspicion. Not theory. Evidence. Clean. Direct. Unavoidable. I waited 10 minutes. Let him settle. No sudden moves. Then I made the call. I told my daughter to come over. That night. Because I wasn't going to let Kyle tell the story first. I wasn't going to let him rewrite what she saw. This time, she would see it with her own eyes. Kyle came over with my daughter. Same calm face. Same polite tone. Like nothing had happened. I didn't argue. Didn't explain. I just placed my phone on the table. And hit play. The video started. Kyle, at the door. The key. The entry. The search. And then, his face changed. Not slowly. All at once. My daughter froze. What are you doing? Kyle lunged for the phone. I stopped him. Sit. He didn't. So I said it again. Slower. Sit down. He sat. I asked the only question that mattered. My daughter didn't even know that room existed. A pause. So how did you find it? And how did you get a key? Kyle tried to smile. It didn't land. I just wanted to see what you were keeping. I'm looking out for my wife. I held his gaze. You look out by breaking into a locked room and photographing documents? That's when the mask cracked. Fast. Sharp. Why are you even hiding it? He snapped. It's all going to the family anyway. The room went quiet. That wasn't a defense. That was a claim. My daughter's voice shook. You think my dad's assets belong to you? Kyle didn't even hesitate this time. You're my wife. I need to know what we're working with. There it was. Not love. Not concern. Planning. Positioning. Control. I leaned forward. Just enough. Your plan doesn't run through my house. I let that sit. Then added one more line. Clear. Final. And you don't get to stand near that door again. Every access point. Every code. The important documents left the house. Moved somewhere a key and curiosity can't reach. The locked room? Empty now. Because I already had what mattered. Proof. Dana sent the notice. Kyle is not allowed near my property. Not the house. Not the room. Not anything tied to my assets. If he comes back, it's trespass. Or worse. My daughter stayed with me that night. She cried. Not because of the room. Because she finally saw it. The plan he'd been living with, and she wasn't part of it. Just a bridge to something else. Kyle texted. Apologies first, then pleading, then pressure. If you listen to your dad, you'll... I didn't respond. Because when predators lose access, they switch tactics. From taking to pulling. I looked at my daughter. You need your own lawyer. She nodded. You separate your finances. Another nod. And you understand this. I waited until she met my eyes. He's sorry he got caught. Not a word. But she understood. Her eyes were red, but clear. I don't celebrate what happened. No one wins when a family breaks. But I'm at peace with one thing. I stopped something worse. Because the real danger wasn't the locked room. It was letting the wrong man hold the key to my daughter's future. A few days later, my daughter said, I always thought he was just under pressure. I didn't argue. Pressure doesn't make someone sneak into locked rooms and photograph documents. A pause. Greed does. She didn't push back this time. Instead, she started remembering the questions about money, the way he monitored her calls, how he insisted on holding documents for safekeeping, how every time she asked something uncomfortable, he made her feel guilty for asking. Piece by piece, it came together. Not a husband, a system. He didn't want a family. He wanted a project, something to manage, to control, to extract from. I helped her rebuild. We set up a protection fund for her future, and for any child she might have one day. We moved assets out of reach, far from anyone who sees family as leverage. And I told her one thing she won't forget. Real family doesn't make you hide the key. A beat. Predators do. She didn't argue, didn't defend him, didn't explain him. Instead, she asked me something else, something better. What do I need to do to stay safe? That's when I knew. She was out. Because the shift isn't loud. It doesn't look like anger. It looks like this. When someone stops defending and starts protecting. I never told my daughter about the locked room, but her husband found it first. And that's the part that matters. Because predators don't wait to be invited. They move ahead of the family, into the places you protect, at the moments you don't expect. So the real question isn't what happened to me. It's this. What would you do? Stay quiet, keep the peace, hope it stops on its own, or draw the line. The moment someone reaches for a door you never offered, I chose the line. Because some doors, once opened by the wrong person, don't close again. They lead to others. Your accounts, your will, your child's trust. And by the time you realize it, you're not protecting your family anymore. You're recovering from it. Real family doesn't need the key to your locked room. Predators do.